All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our May LCAP Community Stakeholder Meeting. We appreciate you being here. I'm Cheryl Tagashi from the Categorical Programs Department. And before we begin, I would like to inform our stakeholders of the process for receiving interpretation. So Esmeralda?
Thank you, Cheryl. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to switch it over to Spanish to give the interpretation instructions. Buenas tardes a todos. Gracias por acompañarnos a esta reunión. Tenemos servicio de interpretación. Si por favor le da clic en el símbolo de mundo que dice interpretación y seleccione Spanish y seleccione Mute Original Audio. Gracias. Voy a poner las instrucciones en el chat. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Esmeralda. Next, please. Again, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. And before we get started, I would like to take this time to introduce our our interim superintendent, Dr. Volkemard, to give a few words this evening.
Great, thank you, Cheryl. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you all here. Thank you very much for being here and investing this time with us. We do have several board members that are here this afternoon. I want to give them an opportunity to bring you greetings. We'll start. Here's who I saw in the participants list. President Dowdy Rogers is here, Ms. Ceballos is here, Dr. Hill is here, and Dr. Flores is here. If I got to everybody and they didn't sneak in right after I looked at the participants list. So President Rogers, can we start with you?
Thank you so much, Dr. Volkemar, and greetings to everyone this evening. Thank you again for all of your hard work and all that you are doing. We know that we have had multiple community meetings, but I believe there has been much success because it is helping us and guiding us and embracing our community and making sure that we are in this together and doing it together. So we appreciate you so much. And to the staff, your work has been stellar. So we appreciate you. And we're looking forward tonight in gathering more information to make things better in our district. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
There, okay, go ahead.
Can you see me? I don't think you can see me, huh? Well, anyway, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. Thank you, everyone that has taken the time to be here, and thank you to the staff. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the year, and so, again, we just appreciate everybody's dedication and commitment, and thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Ms. Ceballos. Dr. Hill?
Thank you, and I want to welcome all of you staff. Thank you for the tremendous job you've done all year. We appreciate you, all the stakeholders, and we know everything we do for our children. So I'm gonna ditto the two previous board members, and I know you got a lot to cover, so looking forward to this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. And Dr. Flores?
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. This is our last LCAP meeting, and I know that we're going to finalize our ask, the community ask, and the priorities. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Komnick and his staff for the great work that you're doing, and also, mention that we are I appreciate everything that you do, all of us do. Primeramente quiero darles las gracias a todos los padres que están participando, la comunidad, a todos los encargados de esta junta, especialmente el señor Komnick, que es el líder de LCAP, y que por favor que digan lo que ustedes quieren, porque esta es la última oportunidad de oír sus voces antes de que se va a la mesa directiva. Muchas gracias.
Great, thank you, board members. Did I miss anybody? Dr. Wyatt or Mr. Tillman or Ms. Rosales Medina? Okay. give me another second. All right, well, again, thank you, board members. To the team and everyone involved this evening, I can't believe it's the end of the year already. We're gearing up for graduations, which is always a very exciting time of year. We just want to say thank you for partnering with us throughout the year, every step of the way on this very unique journey. I believe this is number 20-something community input meeting that we've had this year. We've had a bunch, and because our board expects that our staff listens to our community as we're putting this LCAP together. This will be our new 3-year plan for the next 3 school years, and that's a clear expectation from the board. And so we want to say thank you very much for investing your time with us. We believe that it is an investment and it's very helpful to us. If you're new and this is your first time, you got here just in the nick of time. We'll get your input and build it in as much as we can before we go to the board on our public hearing, with our public hearing on June 8th. And if you're a seasoned veteran to this process, thank you for being with us all along the way. You know the drill, so I'm looking forward to hearing your input as well. I want to thank our staff, as the board already has, for their work throughout the year, not just tonight, throughout the year. They've become masters at learning how to involve people and get input through in a virtual environment. So thank you very much to all of our staff that are involved, our translators, our coordinators, directors, everybody that's been involved. I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to share this evening. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you, Cheryl, for giving me a minute to share.
Thank you, Dr. Volkmer and board members. We truly appreciate you being here this evening, as well as our staff, our parents, our students, and our community members. Next slide, please. On our agenda this evening, you're going to find that we're going to have a state budget update, as well as a summary update from our previous thought exchange input from our community members. We'll present that, as well as a review of our local control accountability plan. Again, like Dr. Volkmer mentioned, it's a new 3-year plan, and we have 3 major themes of support. And you'll have the opportunity to give additional input on those 3 major themes, including improving academic outcomes, improving school climate and culture, and improving parent and community engagement. After that, we will move into next steps, which includes a public hearing at our upcoming board meeting, as well as those board meeting dates. At this time, I would like our program specialist, Nashay Thompson, to lead us through our basics of excellence and speed of trust. Next slide, please, Nashay.
Thanks, Cheryl. Hi, everyone. I'm Nashay Thompson, program specialist in categorical programs. And I just wanted to thank you all again for joining us tonight. I'm going to take you through the basics of excellence and then basics for excellence, and then I'm going to hand it over to Terry so he can get into the presentation. As you know, this is our last LCAP meeting and input session for the school year. And I want to shine a spotlight on one of the speed of trust behaviors that's actually in the next slide. So could you advance that, please? Thank you. Thanks. So I'm looking at number 9 on this list, and it's clarify expectations. It says disclose and reveal expectations, discuss them. Don't assume that expectations are clear or shared. So as a pretty shy person myself, I know that sometimes it can be tough to speak up in public and share my ideas or opinions, even if I know that people want to hear them, and even if what I want to say is really important. So tonight, there are some different points in the presentation where we're going to be asking you for your input on what has been shared. And I just want to encourage you to reveal your expectations and share your thoughts during those times. You'll be able to use thought exchange or the chat or your mic, but just remember that what you have to say is important, and the things you want to share may not be obvious. It may be something that no one else has said. And also remember that your perspective is really unique as a parent or student or family member, community member, staff person. Nobody has the perspective that you have, so we need to hear from you, and we want to. I just wanted to leave you with those words before you get started, and I'm gonna hand it over to Terry.
All right, well, good evening. Please advance the slide. Thank you. And I wanted to welcome our board members, Dr. Dowdy Rogers and Dr. Flores, Dr. Hill, Ms. Ceballos, Dr. Volkmer, just mainstays to our community LCAP meetings, clearly engaged in the process. And I can't thank the community enough for their involvement. Students included, just had a powerful input from our student advisory group a few weeks ago. And we want to continue, as Dr. Volkmer said, in our process of gathering the insights. And as Ms. Thompson said, that angle that we may not be able to see from our vantage point, and you help us with that 360-degree lens as we continue to collect stakeholder feedback and input. I thought we'd begin this evening with some good news. If you have heard in the past couple of weeks, Governor Newsom has proposed a part of the 21-22 state budget for education, very, very favorable. And I think Dr. Volkmer at some point gave a comparison of where we were a year ago today and where we are now. And it is a very different picture, and a very positive picture and hopeful picture coming out of this pandemic, and building from this past year and a half almost, and really seeing opportunity before us. And I think Governor Newsom has really laid that out. He's willing and has suggested to invest an additional $20 billion, that is with a B, for public education. Prop 98 is basically our main kind of funding stream, if you will, in terms of how much funding is set for education, and it's at an all-time high of $93.7 billion. Phenomenal numbers. What I don't want to get caught up necessarily is the amount, but the opportunities of the resources that are now available for us to really hone in on our needs, our unique needs, our district needs, our student, our staff needs, our community needs. Excellent opportunity for this. The COLA, cost of living adjustment to the LCFF, the local control funding formula, went from 3.84% to 5.07%. And what that will allow is an estimated $6.5 million in the difference between the 3.84 and the 5.07 to help us offset the unemployment insurance that skyrocketed during this pandemic. So that is a welcome relief. We also have a proposal from our governor on the concentration grant funding that will impact the base LCFF from 50% of the base to 65% of the base. A fairly significant number there, and I'll show that on the next slide in just a moment. And then we want to be mindful as we come back into our next school year, to really have our average daily attendance, our enrollment bounce back from this pandemic. The impact on lower enrollment, lower ADA can be significant. And 22-23, I know that's a year away, but 22-23 will be a real interesting year for us to be cognizant of as we monitor our enrollment on our ADA during the 21-22 school year. Next slide, please. This table really captures what Governor Newsom put forth in the $20 billion. So I mentioned that concentration funding increase from 50 to 65%. That could bring an estimated almost $22 million to our district, additional resources than what we'll be sharing tonight. As this has not been, the legislature has not approved this budget for the governor to sign. So this is, I'll say tentative, but this is what the recommendation is by our governor. Expanding transitional kindergarten beginning in 22-23. where all 4-year-olds will be eligible. 2.7 billion is set there. Now for the district impact, you'll see a bunch of TBDs, and those are yet to be determined, the amount. So we are anxiously awaiting the legislature and Governor Newsom and so forth, and we'll know more as we get into June. The comprehensive after school and summer school, that rhymes or is very reminiscent of our needs that we've identified through our stakeholder input sessions. The expanded learning time will grow $5 billion over the course of 5 years. So a huge investment there. Mental health services, and that is a critical theme that has been very loud and apparent from our stakeholders over this past year and a half with the pandemic. Another $4 billion there, the state's wanting to invest. Educator preparation, retention, and training. This is a critical piece for building staff capacity so that they can give and deliver the most engaging, the most rigorous lessons and learnings, if you will, to our students. Just pure investment on that part. Looking at converting campuses into full service community schools, $3 billion set up there. And this would really have that wraparound approach to health and wellness, obviously academics and so forth. So this is kind of that school as a hub imagery, if you will, as we look forward to how this will progress. Also, high dose tutoring, one-time funding. There are some things that are one-time funding, but this will help mitigate any needs that have become apparent or shown themselves to be addressed over this past year and a half. So the 2.6 billion set there, and then lowering adult student ratios, 1.1 billion there. That will be a direct benefit to our students. Next slide, please. I wanted to, and as I mentioned back on our April 27th LCAP meeting, I wanted to circle back and share the information that we were able to take from our last thought exchange. And as Ms. Thompson mentioned, we will be doing another thought exchange tonight. And it's just a fascinating platform for us to use to collect input and help us synthesize it as we look for themes, patterns, trends, and so forth. So what this slide shows you are two of the thought exchange questions we had on the 27th. One was for our LCAP and the other was for our Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant. And you can see here what resonated to the top in terms of both sides. Now, each one of these are separate. The LCAP is unique to our LCAP priority areas, and then the Expanded Learning Opportunities was looking at really getting our students back to in-person learning and really capturing those with greatest needs to ensure that that we really mitigate any concerns that might show themselves. So you might see some different focus areas. But when you look at each one of these top five, from SEL, professional development, extra learning time, and you look on the LCAP side, extracurricular activities, before and after school programs, professional development, you see a lot of overarching common themes. And that's one thing to really stress is how the different funding sources that the districts, in particular San Bernardino City, will be benefiting from, both from state funding as well as our federal funding. So we've got a lot of complementing resources coming our way that we can really leverage against what we would normally receive in a given academic year. Next slide, please. This is another tool that Thought Exchange allows us to do. It allows us to sort participants by the survey question we asked. And for those who were with us on the 27th, you might remember that we had options to identify where you felt you identified most with, whether it was a parent or a teacher or a student or what might be the case. And then we were able to extract that data And this one is based on thoughts. The first one was based on ratings. If you recall, and those new to tonight, I think you're gonna really like the thought exchange. It allows us to share a thought, but other folks, participants who are logged in, can rate that thought on a star scale of 1 to 5. And 5 being, hey, I agree 100% with that, to 1 being, yeah, I agree, but it's not that much of a priority for me. So we have those rating opportunities. And what you're looking at here are those that were rated by thoughts. So these are original thoughts entered in, and you can see that there are some obvious similarities, whether it's SEL and mental health, professional development resonates, tutoring resonates. It just shows that across the different stakeholder groups that we have in our district, the common themes that we have, the more alike we are than we are different in terms of what we've identified as what is really important for our not only our community, our students, our staff, and our parents as well. So this is what the last thought exchange yielded. So it really helps us focus in on priority areas. And tonight we'll take yet another dive in and kind of building off of what we were able to accomplish over the past LCAP meetings. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we've got a series of stakeholder inputs. There's 3 of these stakeholder inputs that I wanted to share with you. And if you'd go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So our first input area is academic achievement. And the statement there is talking about what our focus area will be regarding student academic performance. The boxes you see below the short narrative are the highlights for this specific stakeholder input area. So college and career readiness, standards met for CAS, that includes ELA and math, focus on ELA and math. STEAM, getting us ready for that 21st century that we happen to be in, right? High school diploma. And that's really kind of a starting area, not a finish area, right? We want to have our students most ready to continue past that high school diploma to an area, a field, a course of study that they deem worthy for them to partake in, with the skills and knowledge that we've shared with them, we've imparted with them, they've shared with us as they embrace into their next pathway, if you will, of life. Vocational skills was critical. Learning acceleration related to the pandemic, the impact that pandemic may have had on our learnings. So definitely addressing that, as well as a focus on A to G coursework. Next slide. And the question becomes, well, how do we know, right? How do we know if we did what we said we were going to do? Well, we have metrics. And not only do we have the California dashboard, that is a critical metric for all districts, but we also have our local data that we look at. So this is a list of metrics that we use as we do the annual update for the LCAP to determine whether we're making progress. Are we achieving our goals? And I know these past, this past 2 years, as we look at 2020 and 2021, there may not have been CASP state testing. There was still local indicators that we're able to pull data from to help us as we embark onto summer school and as we embark into the 21-22 school year. Next slide, please. A second area of focus for stakeholder input has been school climate and campus environment. And that hasn't become, more important than in the past, maybe, with this past year and a half. And it's more than just, a clean classroom, obviously important, critically important. Well-maintained facilities, absolutely important. But that social emotional learning that we saw in the themes from the 27th resonate to the top. Reducing chronic absenteeism, making sure that our kids are connected to not only the curriculum, but to our schools, to our teachers. Health and safety is a critical piece, reducing those suspension and expulsions, reducing citations, and really that welcome, conducive to learning environment. Nothing feels more welcoming than when you walk onto a campus, you feel safe, you feel valued, you feel connected. And that's just as important walking into our classrooms, right? We want our students to feel that same way that we as parents walk into an office. We want to feel that we're valued, that we're welcomed, and that this is safe. This is a safe environment, both physically and mentally. Next slide, please. The metrics. Well, how will we know? Well, we want to increase student engagement and connectedness. And this can be done by a variety of ways. It can be done obviously by surveys. It can be done by input sessions that we receive. We also want to make sure that our facilities are in good repairs. And we have Williams visits through our county to ensure that our schools are in good repair, that we do have textbooks and curriculum for all of our students. We want to decrease those suspension rates, as I mentioned in the previous slide, for all students, including our most vulnerable students with disabilities or African-American students, and as well as our foster youth and homeless, making sure that we provide services that best benefit our students in general and specifically. We want to reduce penal code violations. We want to reduce chronic absenteeism. Again, we want to make sure our students are learning, are present, and we want to reduce the expulsion rate. Next slide, please. And our third stakeholder input priority area is student, family, and community involvement and support. A critical piece, again, I've said this time and time at our LCAP meetings, we view our community, our parents, our students, our staff as partners. This is a partnership. We're involving those who are most impacted by our decisions, and engaging and involving with authentic conversation, the valuing of the perspectives that are shared with us, looking at resource allies and alliances. How can we connect the dots? Our networking, our partnerships outside of the district within our community, right? Like whether it's Valley College or Cal State San Bernardino or Amazon or other organizations and entities that work as partners with us for the betterment of our community, for the betterment of our student outcomes. Next slide, please. And the metrics to help us determine that, we want to improve our parent stakeholder engagement. I know Beatrice Gonzalez from Family Engagement has done a phenomenal job of engaging our parents, our stakeholders, providing workshops and training sessions to build skill and capacity, build the knowledge so that our students can be active participants in our students' learnings. Family Engagement Department uses data. We use data from not only from our panorama surveys, but we also use our data from our hubs at the comprehensive high schools. We use, as I mentioned earlier, student parent surveys. And just looking at family engagement, high school hub documentation, again, what are we doing at those hubs? How are we building on the needs of not what we think you want? What is it that we can provide that would be the best for our parents and our families and our communities, so that we can provide the best wraparound support for our students? Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to, from this point, we're going to kind of jump into some budgeting, right? That helps. This will be the resources for our identified needs. What I wanted to share with you on this slide is we build a budget with complements. So there's different funding sources that a district receives. We receive our base funding, which is primarily our local control funding formula. And then we receive in the orange bar our supplemental concentration based on 3 factors: our English learner, our low income, and our foster youth counts, unduplicated counts. And then the third area there is our titles 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are our federal dollars. Now this would be and I'll put this in air quotes, a typical budget, if you will, in terms of the resources we receive. This year is different, obviously, because of the pandemic. And at the, I believe it's the June 2nd board budget workshop, we will dig a little deeper into our federal stimulus funds that are projected to assist San Marino City with really pulling ourselves out of the pandemic and into unprecedented opportunity with these fundings. What I wanted to demonstrate here as well is the funding sources you see are layered in such a way that we have our base. This is what all students receive. Then we have our supplemental concentration, that orange bar. This is what's going to supplement that base funding. And again, this is based on needs. It's really needs driven. And then our title funding, more restricted, comes on top of that and provides an additional layer of support and services for those identified needs beyond what the base is providing for, beyond what supplemental concentration is providing for. Now the title federal dollars come in and really help us maximize the areas of need across our district. Although it is a significant amount of funding, you know, we can do a lot of different things. We can't do everything, but we can do a lot of different things. And the nice thing about the LCFF part, it's local control, right? It's not that categorical buckets of funding prior to LCFF. So this really helps us, and it's what this LCAP process is doing for us, is really giving us that opportunity to really tailor it to local needs. Next slide, please. So based on that stair step kind of a funding resource availability, we're looking at the first stakeholder input, which was academic achievement. And here we've got theme-based activities that have resonated through multiple input sessions throughout our LCAP process. And on the middle box is really looking at, well, what types of services are those? And then the estimated funding, projected funding for those specific areas. And the key thing to recognize is this is ideally a needs-driven process. We're looking at our needs assessment, we're looking at the data, and we're trying to match resources to fill the identified data need in a variety of different ways, in a variety of different areas, whether that is academic, as this is showing, or it is with school climate, social emotional learning, and it's also with community. Next slide, please. This is a continuation of the academic achievement. Heavy investment. Can you go one back on the English one, please? Thank you, perfect. Heavy investment on our academic achievement. We want to ensure that we are instructionally sound. We're providing instructional resources in a variety of different ways, through services, through activities that meet the needs, again, of our identified student groups. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. Oh, one up. Okay, thank you. And here you can see the total supplemental concentration investment of 101 million for our academic identified area, priority areas. Below that, you see federal. This is federal support for academic achievement approximately $30 million. So all total, just with the S&C, the supplemental concentration, and the title support, the federal dollars, we're at about $131 million in support of our academic achievement. And this is obviously a very critical piece to our academic program, if you will, district-wide. It engages not only all of our students, but it also identifies our greatest need students, whether they're foster youth, English learner, low income, special ed, and so forth. So we look at providing the necessary supports based on needs, based on input, to develop the best service model, if you will, for our students. At this time, I'm going to turn this over to Cheryl for our first thought exchange.
Thank you, Terry. Next slide, please. And Nishay, if you would put the link to Thought Exchange into the chat for everyone, please. Thank you. So Terry has given everyone a lot of information, academic themes just now, and the types of services that are related to those themes, the support and the services. So we want to hear from you now. When you have looked at those past few slides, are there any overarching themes missing that should be considered? So using your phone or your computer, go ahead and scan or log into Thought Exchange using that passcode there. And while you're logging in, I'm going to have Terry share his screen now so that you can see how the Thought Exchange works while you're doing this. So you're going to be able to input your thought, your ideas into the Thought Exchange relating to any overarching themes that might be missing for our academic area. We're talking the academic part right now. So once you log in, there might be a couple of questions for you to answer, like which participant group are you with, which either parents, students, etc. And then you'll be able to go in and share your thought and tell why. Be able to share your thoughts on anything that might be missing for our academics. We're going to give everyone about 5 minutes to do that. And Terry will open the Thought Exchange so that we can see those thoughts live while you're doing this. And again, as you see any of the thoughts, you'll be able to rate them as well with the star rating, either, 5 for yes, I believe that thought is extremely important itself, or maybe 3 in the middle. Yeah, it's important, but maybe there are a few others a little more important. Or maybe on the 1 that maybe, yeah, it's important, but maybe not quite my priority. So you can see some of those thoughts right there. Concern over students being delayed academically. And someone says that this looks good, it's well thought out, best interest of the schools and students. So you'll be able to go in and again, add some of your thoughts, as well as rate the thoughts that other people are inputting into the Thought Exchange as well. These ideas, this input will help guide our district. And can we put that Thought Exchange into the chat box again, please? Thank you, Nishay. So we'll give you about 3 more minutes to continue sharing your ideas and your thoughts. We can see that people are already rating. And also, if you would like, you can share your thoughts in the chat box, or in a couple of minutes, we'll also recognize some of you if you raise your hand or put your name in if you'd like to make a comment as well. We'll do that in just a couple of minutes. Lots of great ideas there. Dr. Hill is sharing that this is exciting and an informative exercise, and thanking the team for the work. And this does help our school board members help make those decisions, those valuable decisions for all of our students and staff and community within the district. And in just a minute or so, we'll open up the chat and take a look to see if there are any comments, or if anyone would like to raise their hand or open their mic to share something. We'll do that here in just about a minute. And then we'll move on. After academics, we want to get your thoughts also on 2 other themed areas that Terry reviewed. So we'll take a look at those areas and get your thoughts there as well. All right, so about 30 seconds left in this part of the thought exchange. All righty, thank you so much for this input, very valuable. At this point, are there any comments from stakeholders that you would like to share verbally or in chat? Kathy, is there anything in chat at this point?
Cheryl, we have Ryan saying this is a very comprehensive plan. I'd like to see special education students included also. Thank you, Terry and team.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan, for your input. And is there anyone who would like to raise their hand or on mic and share anything verbally?
It looks like we do have someone who'd like to unmic.
Okay. And oh, compromise civic education. Please unmic. Unmute, I should say. Open your mic.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Just I'd like to say thank you for all the work you're doing. It's a wonderful. And I like to they involve more family to the schools, engagement, more family. Yes, but I want to share something very important. Sorry, long time I now use the English. So, okay, we need to know if we want to have, we want to have this for this money for 3 years, 7 years. We need to. I can ask him I like to ask it to somebody, some group, they can be followed to try to see what budget is working better than other budget in other place. Example. Yes, like example, special education, we need more efficient technology to try to help you to kids several they need to learning, right?
All right.
Yes. Es lo que estoy sintiendo, me está afectando. Okay. All right. So that's the example for special education. They need more staff. Okay. And for other people, like for the art, the BAPA, sometimes they need something other budget. So that's why I asking if we're going to have the LCAP for 3 or 7 years, we need to found a group to follow, to try to see all these things. And later when we have review, we need to know about this we can cover exactly what the students need. Because the priority for this district, for me, the first one is the students, is development to teachers and principals, and involve other organizations to come and working with us to be have successful. So that's what I understand about the LCAP, and I like it too. If you encourage all these things, is really successful for everybody, because we don't talking only for this year. We need to talk about for 3-7 years, and we need to be together and have one group to try to make our voice more clear. Sorry, and thank you for your time. I love this district. Okay.
Thank you so much. We truly appreciate all of your thoughts. Thank you for sharing. We also had a parent share that they would like to see more parent participants, as well as vocational skills and development. Semi-skilled career labor opportunities are important because many students may not feel that college is the right choice for them. Truly appreciate your input on the academic side. And at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Terry so we can move on to our next major theme, which is school climate and campus environment. Terry?
Thank you. And I just saw a chat. I appreciate the comments, not only in the thought exchange, but also verbally and within chat itself. And there was one comment I just wanted to touch on, and that was the high dose tutoring. And I was reviewing my notes from the governor's revision from the January budget this past couple weeks ago. And there's $2.6 billion, and it's one-time money. So high dose tutoring would be a real emphasis on a very short burst, high leverage with a fair amount of dollars, right? 2.6 billion, to really try to address any type of shortcomings or data concerns that might show themselves over this past year and a half of being, virtual learning. So more as what they say is as trailer bill language develops, as we move through this approval cycle with the legislature and the governor, and ultimately signing the budget, more information will come. And as we get more information, as always, we will share that information with you so that we all know what we're doing. We understand what it is the resource is intended to do, and how might we apply that in the most effective and efficient way that will benefit our district and our students. Kathleen, if you could bring up the PowerPoint, please. I also, while she's bringing, oh, that was quick. Thank you so much. I just wanted to recognize the one statement about, using layman's terms as we talk about this educational terminology, and spot on. I totally agree with the comment. It's building our parents' capacity, our community's capacity, as they become more involved and engaged in the process than ever before, and attending workshops and trainings and county offerings and so forth, and really being able to understand and speak to and address those educational topics or phrases that might come your way. And more than happy to provide clarifying language. I'm constantly aware of that, trying to provide clarifying language so that we are, again, partners at the table. No one is talking down to anyone. We are talking together, sharing ideas. This second input area on school climate and campus environment, very, very heavy on the social and emotional aspects of our students. With this unprecedented experience we've gone through, it is clear that the community, the teachers, the district cabinet, the board is clearly dedicated to the safety and the well-being of our kids. If our kids aren't safe, if our staff doesn't feel safe, if we don't have physical wellness as a major priority in our plans, whether it's the LCAP or, as I mentioned earlier, with the federal dollars that we'll be receiving, it's difficult to really engage in learning if I'm worried about something else, right? And it really is important for us to address those, to provide the resources so that our students and community and parents can best get the resources necessary so they can be successful in the classroom. So you can see here that CAPS is a big topic, after school program, and we saw that in the governor's proposal to expand the CAPS programs, before and after school programs. Dennis Warman has done a phenomenal job of really engaging our communities and our students as to have a safe and meaningful experience after school, right? And I think that's the critical piece with our after school programming. We've got, focus on counselors, positive school climate, student health and wellness. Miss Colleen Williams, from director of our Swiss department, our student wellness department, is just phenomenal at providing not only support services to our students, but to our staff. Just fully engaged, fully involved, with really truly a wraparound mindset, that whole child mindset, very evident in this second school focus area of school climate and campus environment. With that, Cheryl, I'll go ahead and hand it to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. And at this point, we're going to head back. Next slide, please. We're going to head back to our thought exchange to give you the opportunity to share some additional thoughts as it relates to school climate and campus environment. You saw in the previous slide that Terry shared some overarching themes, but is there something missing when it relates to school climate and campus environment? We'll have Terry share his screen so that you can see the thought exchange live. And you'll be able to go in and at this time, again, share your thoughts on any overarching themes that may be missing that could be considered as it relates to school climate and campus environment. And we'll put the link in chat again, just in case there's someone just joining the meeting or needs the link again. You can use your phone to use the QR code or the tejoin.com with that 9-digit code to get in. And as you are working on adding your thoughts to this particular part, again, of the thought exchange, the school climate, campus environment, someone did ask if we put the QR code higher, please. And we'll
Cheryl, we
give-
have a hand raised. Catalina
Okay.
Castillo.
All right, go ahead,
Yeah.
please, and go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. When it comes to the wellness centers, I'm hoping that's something that's available at every school site. And my concern would be what exactly would be the process for a student to get to see somebody? Because in the past, you know, it's kind of lengthy in order to get to see someone if you're in need of help. So being that our kids are going to be in need of, you know, additional support given the situation, what's the process going to be like? How long is it going to take a student who needs help to reach out to a counselor? Or like, is there a bunch of paperwork involved, or can the student just, you know, let the teacher know something's happening? Or does the student have to tell the teacher? I mean, if I don't know my teacher, I don't trust my teacher. Can I just go ahead and go to the counselor? Can I, you know, what is that going to be like? Have you guys thought about that? Is there somebody here that could, you know, maybe give me some answers? And if not, can you please look into that and then bring that information back to us? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your thoughts and your comments. And Terry, if you want to go ahead and show the thought exchange, I think we've already gotten started there. There we go. You'll have the opportunity to, again, add your thoughts and rate the thoughts of other people. So I see a comment already about CAPS and funding to eliminate the wait list, and middle school and high school student voices are needed, as well as communication between district and individual schools moving together in the same direction. And I thought I saw a hand raised, or did the hand go down?
No, there's a hand raised. Miss Corinthia Williams, would you like to go ahead and unmute?
Okay. Hi, Miss Williams. Go ahead and unmute.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
When I'm looking at the environment, the climate for the campuses, will the schools ensure that the students have someone that they can identify with to feel comfortable with speaking to? And even when you look at CAPS, the after school programs and everything, but I think all of our schools need to have an individual that all ethnicities feel comfortable with going to talk to, that they can identify with. So I see a lot of the campuses, they really don't have many things, and I can speak on the African American. There's really not many that we have that the kids could probably go and talk with, that they feel comfortable with. And I think that's something that the district needs to start looking at, so that everyone is included and feeling comfortable. When you look at this school climate, and that's actually for all of our student and ethnicities, that we want to make sure our students are comfortable so that if they do have a problem, they have no problem with going forward with that person, because sometimes kids just feel more comfortable with someone they can identify with.
Excellent point. Building a positive relationship on campus, and how would a site do that? Thank you so much for sharing that thought with us this evening.
Thought I'd know it.
And as you continue to add your thoughts to the thought exchange, we do have a comment in the chat box about school climate. And there's a question: does this apply to the virtual academy as well? I hear a lot about school climate. Does this apply to the virtual academy as well? And will these services be available to those students?
Ms. Cheryl, we have another hand raised.
Okay.
Kimberly Calvin, go ahead and unmute and ask your question, please.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much. I just wanted to kind of echo what Ms. Williams just stated, because I'm not really sure if how many folks in the district really do understand the importance of every scholar in the district being able to have someone on their campus that they can relate to and being able to feeling comfortable in speaking with. And so as far as African-American scholars are concerned, there's only one Black male counselor in the district. And I'm really not sure how we substantiate that. And so we definitely need to go out on some type of national search if we're having trouble and finding qualified or African-American male counselors to come into our district, because it's definitely something that's needed, and it's been this way for quite some time. So I definitely want to just thank Ms. Williams for bringing that statement forward and asking the district that they really focus in on that, because when we know that we're going to be receiving this coming school year, coming out of COVID, there's going to be a substantial amount of needs, and we don't want any scholar in the district going unmet, having their needs unmet, particularly with the mental health crisis that this pandemic has placed upon us. But we want them to academically be able to walk into any counseling office and find someone that they can speak to and be mentored by as well. So we really need to change that one to several this upcoming school year. So we're going to be looking forward to seeing that. Thank you.
And thank you.
Ms. Togashi, if I can go ahead and address that for a minute.
Oh,
I don't know if
absolutely.
Dr. Funchess is one here. I don't know if he's still here. Dr. Funchess, I know he was here a minute ago. I just want to go ahead and address his Teachers of Color campaign. So just to let our audience know that Dr. Funchess has been very proactive along with Dr. Greer, our director in ETSA, and making sure that we are recruiting teachers of color, because we understand how important it is for our students to be able to see themselves in our district in the leadership positions. So our Human Resource Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Marcus Funchess, has launched a Teachers of Color campaign where he's doing exactly that. He's searching for teachers and other leaders that we can bring into our district to diversify it more. So that is something that is on our radar, and we will continue to move forward with that. And then also for the virtual academy, we are mirroring services, everything that we want to do in person, we want to extend that to the virtual academy as well. Dr. Rodriguez, our Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, is in charge of the virtual academy. And to the best extent possible, we are trying to provide some of those services to students in the virtual arena as well. So we'll be giving more information about that also.
Excellent. Thank you, Mrs. Applegate. And just so everyone knows also, Mrs. Williams, our director, Colleen Williams of the Swiss program, also put a comment in chat that students and families can always do a referral to see a school counselor. And we can always provide additional individualized supports as well. And if you have anything specific that you would like to ask Ms. Williams, her name and email address are in the chat box, and you're more than welcome to contact her.
Cheryl, we have a hand raised from Liliana.
Excellent. Go ahead, Liliana.
Ms. Mendes, you're unmuted. Oh, her hand went down.
Okay, feel free to raise your hand. There she is again. She raised her hand. Can you unmute, Liliana, your microphone?
It's unmuted right now, Liliana. Oh, she may be on the Spanish line.
Oh, interpretation. Is there someone who can help her?
Yes, let me ask.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm here, Selena, but she should be able to turn on her mic. We should hear her.
Liliana? It looks like she's unmiked. I'm thinking maybe it's a connection issue then, because her mic and camera are on, but we're not getting any sound.
Quizá en español, Selena.
Oh, Liliana, ¿me puedes escuchar? Tu micrófono está prendido si gusta hablar. Liliana, no la escuchamos. Si gusta poner su pregunta en el chat y lo podemos leer. Yeah, I don't know. I let her know she can write her question in the chat and we can read it out.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. A couple more comments in chat. Lots of thank yous. And yes, we need more representation. Let's see. Wonderful to hear this for all of our children. Great questions and conversation being had. Can't wait to see all of these new changes next school year. As you finalize your thoughts on school climate and campus environment, I'll go ahead and have Terry unshare his screen so Kathleen can share hers for the next part.
Thank you, Cheryl. I just was reviewing some of the chats as well and appreciate the comments, and it always impresses me with the level, the thought process, the thoughtfulness of the process that our parents, community, and our students. When we were at the Student Advisory Council a few weeks ago, just amazing thoughts, amazing questions that were shared by our students. And obviously they are our end user. They are, the ones that really benefit from our decisions. And I wanted to also comment on the specificity of some of the actions or the services. And throughout our LCAP process, and I really want to focus on the word process. We don't do LCAP in the spring. That's not what we do. We engage our community in the LCAP process throughout the year, and we have multiple meetings that really try to bring this out and make this a very tangible opportunity for us to connect and engage, share, learn from. And I've had from time to time where I like to bring our directors to our LCAP meetings, and they provide really good in-depth updates on the progress of some of those specific activities. So although that wasn't the intent of this evening, I wanted to assure the person who had that in chat that that is something that we have worked into our process of LCAP meetings, that we do bring back our our directors and coordinators and assistant directors who oversee our activities and services, and share those updates with us and let us know how are we doing along the way, not at the end, but along the way, so we can make those adjustments. We can, make those tweaks, if you will, so that we can stay on that trajectory, that path that we are intending to go to. The last part I wanted to comment on was in the chat was on the monitoring and progress of our students. That is a critical piece of our entire LCAP. Again, I don't want to belabor the pandemic, but coming out of that pandemic, really keeping a focus on diagnosing where our students are, progress monitoring regularly as we go through the beginning of the school year and through the school year to ensure that we capture and address our student needs. And so progress monitoring is going to be an utmost of importance. Throughout this school year, we'll bring those data points, if you will, throughout our updates as we get into 21-22, and really keep our community engaged and informed of the process. In our last stakeholder input, really focuses on what we're doing right now, and that's student, parent, community involvement. And really, again, I spoke about Miss Beatriz Gonzalez, the Director of Family Engagement, just doing phenomenal work, engaging our not only our parents and our community members, but our sites, really helping. We've got family engagement, with us tonight, providing that support to help us put this opportunity in a virtual setting. It's just, Esmeralda, Selena, Michelle, and the team just provide incredible support for not only categorical programs, but the district at large and our community as well. So here we've got, communications involved, very critical piece of in a district our size, right? I mean, almost 47,000 students, 8,000 staff, across 170 square miles if you go through the Muscogee all the way to Highland, all that encompasses San Maria City Unified. Just a vast area and a vast community to provide that communication to. Again, those workshops and trainings, not something that we are driving, that's something that we are responding to. What can we provide? What services, what specific areas of focus would you like us to address? And really being needs driven with our community and our stakeholders. So at this time, I will again hand it to Ms. Tagashi for our final thought exchange.
Thank you, Terry. And if you'd go ahead and share your screen for the last part of the thought exchange, and Nishay, go ahead and put the link into chat again, just in case we have some new participants. Go ahead and log in. It is the QR code, same QR code or website and 9-digit passcode to get back in. And at this point, as Mr. Komnick just presented the overarching theme of student, parent, and community engagement, you saw some of the activities there. What might be missing? Is there any overarching theme that might be missing from this piece of our work? Go ahead and share your thoughts in the thought exchange relating to student, parent, and community engagement. Something that maybe we haven't looked at and addressed that will help guide our work. And as you do that, we'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes. We'll have Terry share his screen again so that you can see those comments and those thoughts as they're added. And you'll see how they are rated to be able to assist our work with student, parent, and community engagement.
Cheryl, we have a question from Amy. She'd like to make a suggestion.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited for this opportunity. I'm a member of the International Dyslexia Association and the Decoding Dyslexia California Association, and I have a YouTube channel for parents of children with dyslexia. In the district, I have 5 sons, and 4 of them have dyslexia, 3 with IEPs, and my youngest has a 504 for ADHD, and I'm helping him myself. And I'm also on the dyslexia task force for this school district. So for those of you listening who aren't aware, the school district has formed a task force specifically for implementing best practices for dyslexia. And it began a few months ago, and our plan is to put these best practices in place within the next 2 years. And so I think it's really important that we look at the goals that we have that might need funding so that within those 2 years, it will be in the budget. And this will help accelerate learning for all students, especially after this, because of the pandemic, how far behind some students have fallen. And it's not just for special education students, but there's many students in general education that have not been identified as having a reading disability. So from our test scores, you can see that reading is an important priority and it affects all of the other testing areas. And it will help with college and career readiness because many students with reading disabilities can excel in college and secondary education. Gavin Newsom himself has dyslexia, and feeling successful in kindergarten through 12th grade increases students' likelihood of going on to pursue a higher education. It would also reduce the expulsion rate because if children are doing well academically, it reduces behavior problems a lot. And their attendance will improve because a lot of times kids with dyslexia or having trouble in school, they will pretend to be sick or they'll skip school because it just creates so much anxiety to go to school. So the priorities that I wanted to talk about, hold on, let me close my door because my kids are being kind of loud. Just real quick, this will only take a couple minutes. But number 1 is universal screening for dyslexia for all students annually from kindergarten to 2nd grade. And this is actually in the California Dyslexia Guidelines. And it's a Senate bill right now that's about to be voted on, Bill 237. And that's really inexpensive. We might already own the screeners that we would need. We would just need to, so that's not really for the budget, but teacher training annually for teachers who are from kindergarten to 2nd grade and special education teachers who are teaching children to read. They need to be trained in what the International Dyslexia Association called structured literacy, which is explicit, direct, systematic, and cumulative. And it's like Orton Gillingham related. So Orton Gillingham and structured literacy go hand in hand. So we would need to purchase a workshop for that, which may cost a few $1,000s. And annual teacher training for all teachers, just, a section worked into their training about recognizing dyslexia, understanding what it is and its strengths and symptoms, and how to appropriate interventions for dyslexia, just so that all teachers are aware of it, because it's the most common learning disability and 20% of people have it. And then purchase Orton Gillingham structured literacy programs for kindergarten to 2nd grade for small group intervention and general education and for special education intervention. And this is a big chunk of money. It will probably be thousands of dollars for an IDA approved program like Wilson language program or really great reading, these types of programs. Currently, we have Mind Play, which we recently purchased, and it's a software program. So it's only online and it's a great program, but we also need a hard copy program for small group instruction in special education classrooms and in general ed pullout sessions. And then this suggestion I'm about to make may be the one I'm most passionate about. It is to create a position, a full-time position for a reading specialist in our district who could work one-to-one with children who are not progressing in small groups. So let's say my child has been in special ed for 2 years, but he's still not making significant progress in his small group intervention. Then a reading specialist that goes from school to school in our district could meet with him during his RSP time and give him that structured literacy program. And so that would be about a 60, I don't know how much teachers get paid annually, 60,000, I don't know. And then the last thing is assistive technology, which we already have speech to text and text to speech. We have Don Johnson, we have the Chromebooks, which have that built in. But there are live scribe pens, and it's a pen that helps the child read what's on the page. So he just holds it over the page and it can read it out loud, which is really helpful for worksheets that teachers may hand out that are not on the computer, for them to have the computer read it to them. And those are about $200 each. And it may be good to purchase about 10 of them for the district for children who have severe dyslexia, because it's on a spectrum. So not all kids will need that. But so I propose that the budget has about $200,000 to $300,000 set aside for these dyslexia task force goals. Since we're dedicating time and energy towards improving these, I think we'll need that money over the next few years. And seems like it's a small percentage of 101 million. But I'm really not exactly sure on the numbers, but I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for sharing that. And we have people taking notes, and of course, all of this information will be passed on. So thank you very much. We appreciate your insight. We do have several comments in our chat box at this time, and I know there is one in Spanish from Elizabeth Romero. Can we have some assistance with that one, please?
Ms. Cheryl, our interpreter has translated it in the chat. Would you like me to read it out loud or?
Yes, please.
Okay. It says, thank you. I know you are always working very hard. I'm happy to be part of these changes. My only comment is that we need more counselors. They have a lot of students and cannot provide adequate service. They are vital to students' decisions. I would also like to see one person in charge of parents' needs, because they exist at some schools, but they also have other duties and are not focused 100% on the parents. They are always in a hurry or doing other things. I hope something can be done because it's very important. Let's work together for the improvement of the district.
Thank you so much, Selena. Truly appreciate you reading that and the information from Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Also, Cheryl, we had 2 hands raised, one from Liliana Mendez and the other from Abigail Garcia.
Excellent. Let's go with Liliana first.
Okay, hi, good evening. I hope you can hear me this time.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate. I'm concerned about the school culture, because I've been volunteer to different schools in my community. And I noticed that there is not much of Hispanic history or appreciation that I would like to see that, that implement, some sort of posters and appreciation of our skin color, our language, and because that will be able to, support the children's behavior in a way to appreciate difference and diversity, as well to see that with teachers and staff, when I say staff, administrators, so we can work together and to set, beliefs and values in order to make San Bernardino a better place to live and to work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your thoughts and input. And Michelle, we had another hand.
Yes, from Abigail Garcia.
Okay, Abigail?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I just wanted to do like an input on what the other mom mentioned about the dyslexia. I think that we should help fund that because like my son, I believe he has dyslexia. My husband does too, but when we talked about it in the IEP, I feel like nothing was done about it, or no service was provided to see if he did or he didn't. And I feel that also contributes his education, why he's not improving the way that we wish he would improve. So I agree with her on that we should get more funds for students who have special needs, because I feel like you get kind of pushed aside where it's like, we're gonna take, you guys are just go to Victor Community, and I've been to Victor Community a couple times, and I haven't gotten the assistance that I need for my son to improve in education. And I feel like every year it's just getting harder for him to continue education, and he's just starting his education. So if he's already struggling at such a young age, and adding more to him every year, it's just going to push him back, where he's not even going to be successful once he gets out of elementary and goes to middle school and even high school and continue his education to college.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your input.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've got several comments that thanking everyone for their information, excellent information, and thank you for sharing. There is a question in the chat about the 21-22 school year, and if students will be going 5 days a week, and that has been addressed. Yes, they will be going 5 days a week. At this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Terry so that you will be informed about our next steps and what will happen for our LCAP at this point.
Great, thank you. And yeah, I sit back and I'm just a sponge listening to the comments, the depth of knowledge that our community has, the commitment, the passion. It just resonates and through virtual, right? I mean, virtually, you feel the passion, you feel the need, you feel the concern. And I am very fortunate to be part of this process that we engage together in. And just so you know, not only do we have the tremendous resources, with our base funding and our supplemental concentration and all the federal funding and so forth, stimulus funding, but President Biden's also recommending in his budget huge investments in education, $20 billion in Title I, $2.6 billion for special ed funding, another billion in nurses and counselors. So, this investment into our future in California and at the federal level just seems to be right there. And, it's our engagement that we have with our community, with our board, with our cabinet, with our unions, teachers, students, classified staff, really brings together, how do we best leverage these dollars, these resources to the outcome of to the better outcome of for our students. So next steps, the June 15th is going to be something you might want to mark on your calendar, right? That's when the state budget's to be passed by the legislature. There's kind of some motivation for the legislature to do that. And then hopefully the governor will take that and we'll sign it in right away. And we'll sit back and wait for the trailer bill language that I mentioned, so we really can define those investments that are poised to come our way. We're going to continue monitoring the general and supplemental concentration budgets to align the updated information that we get from the state. And again, we'll share that with you. And we'll continue to collect input for programs and services. Our plan is that it's a plan. And we evaluate it, we look at it, we check it, get under the hood, make sure that the oil's there, the pressure's there, and if it needs an adjustment, then we'll look at the adjustment, right? Can I go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So upcoming board meetings, June 2nd, there's a board budget workshop meeting. On the 8th is our public hearing, LCAP public hearing. And then on June 22nd, the LCAP will be presented to the board for approval. It'll then, from that point, go to the county. The county will review it, provide feedback as appropriate, and then we'll be set to go. And we'll put our seatbelts on because I'm excited about this 21-22 school year. I'm excited about what the summer is going to offer for our students returning. A lot of excitement to be ready for. Before we close the meeting, I'd like to turn this back over to Dr. Volkmer. Sir, would you have any parting comments?
Great. Thank you, Mr. Komnick. Thank you again to the team for putting this all together. Thank you for your input. Great work tonight. I did want to comment on one thing, by the way. Earlier in the chat, someone had mentioned about helping students with kind of like life skills. How do you balance a checkbook, open a checking account? Our board just put $200,000 behind a number of projects that our Superintendent Student Advisory Council is working on. These are students from all of our high schools that come together just about once a month, about once every 6 weeks, and are advisory to the superintendent. But they've been working on a number of projects, and one of the projects they're working on actually is that kind of effort to help students learn how to do things that just come about in life, like fix a flat tire, or something that they might that isn't typically covered in the curriculum. So I'm excited about that, but we are going to move forward with that. Thank you again. I think you've helped us build what I believe will be a very powerful plan. Looking forward to seeing it come to fruition. And just thank you so much for your input tonight. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.